Good evening. I'd like to call to order the November 12th meeting of the Board of School Trustees of the Plainfield Community School Corporation. And we'll begin this meeting as we always do by rising and saying the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you, everybody. I'd like to welcome our guests this evening. I've got just a few items to mention under President's prerogative and correspondence. I want to begin with by congratulating one of our members who isn't here this evening. Katie Chamness got married this weekend. We'll have to get used now to calling her Katie Parker, which is always hard on me to change names, but she is enjoying her honeymoon right now, so we'll give her an opportunity to do that. On behalf of the board, we'd like to give our best wishes to both Katie and Corey for a lifetime of happiness together. So it's very exciting for them. Also need to congratulate this evening Brad Du Bois, who is celebrating another trip around the sun. So happy birthday, Brad. We're very happy to have the opportunity to humiliate you publicly like this. So. We did have an election last week. I think everybody's aware that an election went on, and Katie, Mike Allen, and I were reelected. Doug Hartman ran a great campaign. We very much appreciate his willingness to run and his courage to step forward. That's not an easy thing to do. He ran a great campaign, and I'm sure we're going to see a lot more of him. Katie had announced her intention to resign before her new term began, so the board will need to select a replacement for her. She'll still be a board member till the end of this year, but after that, under state law, the board has to make that selection. So the board will be discussing that process, and you can expect an announcement about that soon. There's been a lot of news in the last few days about the coronavirus. You may have seen that in Marion County, they've made some decisions about schools. Right now, we are continuing to follow the path that we're on. I'd like to thank our administrative team and Superintendent Ollinger for their continued leadership throughout this crisis. Would just ask any Plainfield families to please remember to be careful, to follow social distancing guidelines. Our goal is to keep kids in classrooms where they do the best learning as long as we possibly can. And the only way we're going to be able to do that is if everybody helps and does their part. So again, anything that people can do to just wash your hands, wear masks and all those things, it is important. It does make a difference. So that's all I have this evening. I will turn over to Superintendent Ollinger, who's going to introduce some outstanding students to us.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Flood. Once again, we're going to honor our Value of the Month students from afar. I know it's always hard, but to not have them here in person, because that was always the highlight of our board meetings, I think. But we are going to recognize them, and then tomorrow I and Sabrina will go around and honor the kids individually in their classrooms, which they seem to like to just as well. So it's been good the last couple of months. But we're going to recognize those students for the value of responsibility. And I will start by introducing Dominic Loudon. Dominic was nominated by Mrs. Davis from Brentwood, who writes, Dominic shows that he is responsible in so many ways daily. First, I can always count on Dominic to come to school prepared for school. This means his homework is complete. He has his assignment notebook with a parent signature, and his Chromebook is always charged. Next, I just know that Dominic is going to make responsible choices for himself, regardless of whether I'm watching him or not. For example, he reads when he has extra time without being asked. He follows directions as soon as I give them, and he is a friend to everyone. So with that, I'd like to congratulate Dominic Loudon. And from Central, we have Bryson Adams. Bryson was nominated by Mrs. Zepsky, who writes, Bryson is a great role model for his peers. He makes good choices and encourages his classmates to do the same. He has a positive and fun personality. Bryson tries his best on all of his work. I love that I can always count on Bryson to be a leader. Thanks for being so responsible at such a young age. You rock, Bryson. Keep working hard in school and have fun riding your bike. So congratulations to Bryson Adams. And from Clarks Creek and Mrs. Judd's class, we have Winston Jones. And they write, Winston takes really good care of his things, especially his books, from the library and our classroom. Here are some of the things his classmates noticed about him. Winston is responsible and doesn't lose things all the time. I've seen him forget things, but he takes responsibility. Winston always has his computer charged and remembers his red folder. For these reasons, we think Winston is a great representative for responsibility. So congratulations to Winston Jones. And from Van Buren Elementary, nominated by Mrs. Craney, we have Lydia Pedigo. I nominate Lydia for the value of responsibility. I believe Lydia best exemplifies the value because she's very focused on getting her assignments completed and is extremely responsible. She is a very conscientious student and strives to give her best effort 100% of the time. Lydia is always helping other students and enjoys picking up items around the classroom without being asked. She is eager to learn and enjoys whatever I have planned for the day. She is a good friend to others and treats everyone with respect. She truly has a kind heart and sets a good example for other students in the classroom. I'm so glad Lydia is a part of our class and the Van Buren family. So congratulations to Lydia Pedigo. From the middle school, nominated by Mrs. Halls, we have Connor Denot. Connor is an excellent and responsible student. He is the type to face down any challenge in his path. In English class, which is not his first favorite, Connor pushes through tough material strongly by asking questions, working hard, and always doing his best. When he had to be home in quarantine, Connor made up all of his work and reached out for support when he needed it. Connor is a kid I would trust to run an errand for me out of a whole room of kids, which is saying something in middle school. He knows he is responsible for himself and his actions, and because of that, he is a classroom leader. So congratulations to Connor. And then finally from the high school, nominated by Mr. Hoffman, is Katie Reel. Kate has been awesome to have in my applied PE class. Regardless of her partner, I can trust that Kate will empathize with the student's unique situation and find ways to adapt activities to meet their needs. I can give guidelines and not worry about what Kate is doing, which allows me to focus on students who need more help. She is positive, energetic, and a great example of the right way to act. So congratulations to Katie.
Congratulations to all these outstanding students. I'll say again, I say it every month, but I look forward to the day when we can actually go back to having the students and their parents and their grandparents here in the room.
Yeah.
It's so much fun seeing them get recognized and recognized for good things. At this time, I'll ask if there are any patron comments on agenda items.
I just have a couple questions. More than anything, is that appropriate now? Okay.
On specific agenda items?
Yes.
Sure.
For the part about the Indiana Bond Bank's advanced funding program, I noticed like the language in that says a lot of times like an emergency exists. Is that normal language, or is that something we should be concerned about?
No, it's pretty well a boilerplate language that the Indiana Bond Bank uses just to make sure that we satisfy every possible legal crossing the I or crossing the T and dotting the I. Yeah.
For the state of Indiana, emergency just basically means unplanned, and in this case, it's primarily recognizing that we may not get all the expected money from the county on time. So this just kind of gives us a little bridge. It's an annual thing.
We only get money from the county in June and December, so the tax warrants help with cash flow.
Any other questions?
I had a question about the school calendar, and I noticed this last year, and unfortunately, to bring anyone's attention, but why does it say Christmas break?
That's what we've always called it. I mean, it's Christmas break. It's during Christmas time, so is there something?
Not for everybody, number
Sure.
one. But, and number two, I think, sort of under the category of when we know better, do better type thing. I don't I think that it would be a lot more inclusive of the entire community. It would absolutely be inclusive of the entire community, and recognize that it isn't Christmas break for everybody, it's winter break. And I think that, we have spring break, we have fall break, we have winter break. I think it would just be a lot more consistent, and it makes sense to me that it would be, I understand that that's, maybe traditionally what things have been called, but it just seems to make it's a small change that I think would matter to a lot of people.
Something to consider. Any other questions? Well, thank you both. We'll move on to our consent agenda. We have 6 items under the consent agenda this evening. We have the record of the October 8th work session, the minutes of the October 8th meeting, list of donations, approval of a revised operating agreement for Area 31, the revised 2021-2022 school calendar, and accepting a bid for the 2020 general obligation bond. Do any board members wish to remove any of the consent agenda items? Hearing none, I'll entertain a motion for approval of all.
Move to approve.
Second.
Are there any questions? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, the same sign. All the items are approved. We'll move on to financial report and claims. First in that category, we have financial summary and fund transfers. Mr. Wolf.
In your packet is a summary for the first 10 months of the year for the 2020 budget, as well as the amount of funds that we transferred from the education fund to the operations fund. After the first 10 months, I still feel pretty good about how we're going to end the 2020 budget. We've taken a beating on the interest income, but we've underspent some other categories that's helped us along the way. But I recommend that you accept this summary.
I'll entertain a motion to that effect.
So moved, Mr. President.
Second.
Any questions? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, the same sign. It is approved. And we have claims 55,375 to 55,641.
In your packet are claims 55375 through 55641. I would ask that you approve these claims so that we can pay those vendors.
Move to approve.
Second.
Are there any questions? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, the same sign. The claims are approved. I always like to point out at this point that the board receives information about items such as these in advance of the meeting. We have a chance to review it. Our packet this month was 316 pages of really exciting reading, so it was a little longer than normal. But that motion that you heard for the claims goes very quickly, but this time we spent just over $7 million. So money does go pretty quickly. Under new business, first item is personnel.
Yes, in your packet is Schedule A1, which are personnel recommendations for both certified and classified staff for the month, and I've asked for approval.
Is there a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Any questions? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Opposed, the same sign? All right, they are approved. And we move on to old business, where we need to approve the 457 and 403B restatement of plan documents.
Due to some changes by the IRS, we had to have council modify some provisions in our 403B and 457A plan documents, which allow our employees to defer using dollars into tax sheltered annuities and defer future taxes. So it's just some work that was done by Bose McKinney to keep our plan documents compliant with the IRS.
I'll entertain a motion for approval.
Move to approve.
Second.
Any questions? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. That is approved. And we have to approve a resolution to participate in the Indiana Bond Bank 2021 Advanced Funding Program.
In your packet is the resolution, very similar to what you've seen in years prior. This would be our formal approval to participate with the Indiana Bond Bank to borrow some money for the operations fund for the 2021 budget.
So moved.
Second.
Any questions?
we getting estimates on what the rates are gonna be for that this year?
The last cash flow had us, I think our borrowing authority right now is about $850,000.
What's the percentage on that? Do you know? I mean, they're still running very
Six
low.
or 7,000, and we had plenty of interest budgeted in our debt service
To
fund.
cover, yeah.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, say something else. That is approved. We've got a long list of board policies. We have had we have many board policies. Our board policy, if you print them out, is a stack of about that thick. And we regularly will have our lawyers review them just to see if anything needs to be updated because of changes in laws and to consolidate things. This evening, we've got under first reading, we've got board policies A-125, nepotism, conflicts of interest, gifts and use of corporation resources. A-175, whistleblower protection. C-125, admission to the corporation. C-450, drug prevention and drug testing. C-525, medical needs at school. G-125, criminal organization activity. We are also deleting previous policies, many of which have been incorporated in the ones I mentioned. Policies E3, E11, J8, J17, J18, and J30. These are for first reading, and so you'll have an opportunity to review them, make any comments, and they will be approved at some point in the future. And then this evening, we have up for second reading and adoption, Board Policy C-150, Homeless Students Enrollment Rights and Services, C-425, Student Suicide Prevention and Awareness, C-550, Student Search and Seizure, D-400, Family and Medical Leave, and D-475, Justifiable Decrease in Teaching Positions. I'll entertain a motion for adoption of those policies.
So moved.
I'll second.
Are there any questions? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, the same sign. Those policies have been adopted. Are there any items for board discussion this evening? And any other items for consideration? If not, we will declare the meeting adjourned. Thanks, everyone. Thanks for being here this evening, and thanks for everyone who was watching us.